Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kalaya Kalanabhaya. Kala Vayavasakshine. Vishaya Tad Upadrastre. Takshak Tatkaratre Vishvahetave. Kalaya Kalanabhaya. Kala Vayavasakshine. Vishvaya Tad Upadrastre. Tatkaratre Vishvahetave. Kalaya Kalanabhaya. Kala Vayavasakshine. Vishvaya Tad Upadrastre. Tatkaratre Vishvahetave. Ladies. Kalaya, unto time, Kalanabhaya, unto him who is the shelter of time, Kala Avayava, of the various phases of time, Sakshine, to the witness, Vishvaya, to the form of the universe, Tad Upadrastre, to the observer of it, Tat Kartre, to the creator of it, Vishva, of the universe, Hetave, to the total cause. Obeisances unto you, who are time itself, the shelter of time, and the witness of time in all its phases. You are the universe, and also its separate observer. You are its creator, and also the totality of all its causes. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing in different incarnations, can never be limited by time, since He is time itself, the shelter of time, and the witness of time in all its phases. Om Gyantimidandasya Gyananjanat Salakaya Chakshurun Milidam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Judha Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahakana Raghunatham Pitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Nabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Obeisances unto you, who are time itself, the shelter of time, the witness of time in all its phases. You are the universe and also its separate observer. You are its creator and also the totality of all its causes. This morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 16, entitled Krishna Chastises the Serpent Kaliya. Text 41. the wives of Kaliya, the Nagapatnis, are appealing to Krishna to show mercy unto the brutal, cruel, abusive husband that they lived with for so long. In today's verse, they are especially appreciating Krishna as the very cause of time. He's the creator of time. He's the witness of time. He manifests himself through his own energies as the entire creation, which is under the control of time. And yet he remains separate from all of the creation as the observer of time. He's the cause of all causes, without beginning, without end. And with this understanding, they are putting the dilemma, not only of Kaliya, but of all conditioned souls within this world, in its proper perspective. Krishna tells in Gita, Aham bija pradapita, that he is the seed-giving mother and father of all living beings. Samoham sarvabhuteshu. And therefore the Lord is equal to everyone. The Lord gives everyone what's best for them. And when Krishna appears, either directly or through the agency of material nature, to be punishing someone, it's ultimately for their good. But when we are completely entangled in the material conception of life due to the ahankar, or the false ego, we consider the situation, the tiny little lifetime we're in, to be the all in all. Unless we see the bigger perspective, we can easily be bewildered, confused, and lose faith. But the purpose of Bhagavad Gita, of all these great scriptures and all the saints, is to help us to see everything that may happen in relationship to the unlimited broader picture of reality, in which we are of that nature, of that identity. Mamaivam so jivaloke jiva bhuta sanatana. Krishna tells that all living beings are my eternal part and parcels. Achintya beda beda, simultaneously one with me. Every living being, wherever there's life, whether it be a bacteria or whether it be a demigod like Brahma, wherever there's life among the fish, the plants and vegetation, insects, reptiles, birds, beasts, humans, rakshasas, asuras, suras, demigods. That spark of life is Satchidananda, eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. And the natural propensity to love Krishna and to experience Krishna's unlimited love is the inherent potential that is within all of us. And while living in this material world, like everything, our bodies, our minds are subjected to the influence of time. From that perspective, it really doesn't make so much difference whether we live a long life or a short life, whether we are happy or whether we suffer on this material plane, because everything is constantly vanishing. That is the mystical nature of time. All that exists is the present moment, and yet the present moment disappears as soon as it appears. You can't hold on to a single second. You can stop the clock, but it's not going to prevent you from getting old. How incredible. The most powerful force in all of creation is time. As we're sitting here, time is in the process of extinguishing the sun, drying up every ocean, pulverizing all the planets, and what to speak of our little bodies. Moment by moment, we are on a journey from a material perspective, an ever progressive journey to death. What the Srimad Bhagavatam tells, with every rising and setting of the sun, those who do not see the higher picture, they are one day closer to death. But for one who understands the supreme controller of time and our relationship beyond time, and who hear and chant the glories of Krishna, the Supreme Mother, Father, and object of everyone's love, with every rising and setting of the sun, we come one day closer to eternal life. When we see from this perspective, then yes, we can understand how Krishna is Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. He's the ever-existing, supreme loving well-wisher of every living being. Punishment is an expression of Krishna's love. Reward is an expression of Krishna's love. And if we see from the whole picture, we can understand that. Otherwise, we just get caught up in the moment and think, why is this happening to me? It's not fair. But little children think about that in their own little way about their parents. If a child is doing mischief, which is not good for the child, and could actually spoil the consciousness of, and spoil the future of the child, even dangerous things. When the parent tries to stop the child, usually the child thinks, it isn't fair. Why are you doing this to me? But that's the way we all are. When things don't go our way, and through material nature, there's some sort of difficulty. Why are you doing this to me? But Krishna, not only is he controlling everything through time, but he's controlling time and everything within the cosmic manifestation in such a way that's ultimately good for everyone. And what is the context in which the Nagapatnis are offering this prayer? To see how Krishna has causelessly given such mercy to their husband. In brief, this story takes place on the birthday of Lord Balaram. Usually, Krishna and Balaram would go out together to herd the cows. But on this day, because it was his appearance day, Balaram was kept in the village of Braj. His mother, Rohini Devi, and his other mother and father, Nanda and Yashoda, they kept him back to give him auspicious baths and to have him give charity to Brahmins and saintly people, to invoke auspiciousness upon him. So Krishna took this opportunity to herd his cows toward a lake that was connected to the Yamuna River. The cows, they were very thirsty. It was a very hot day in that sense. So when they saw the water of the lake, they began to drink it. They fell dead because the water was highly concentrated with poison. Meanwhile, the little cowherd boys, they loved their cows dearly. They couldn't tolerate seeing their cows dead. How could they live? So they also drank the water, and they all fell on the bank dead. When Krishna saw this, his beloved cows and all of his beloved friends, unconscious in this state, tears filled his eyes, and he glanced upon them. And with that tear-filled, compassionate glance, he brought all the cows and all the boys back to life. They were so happy. They had some understanding of what happened. And they were so filled with gratitude and love for Krishna. And Krishna was filled with such affection for them, because sometimes these disasters bring people even closer. Sometimes hard times among loved ones gives them a deeper appreciation for what we mean to each other. So there were so many cowherd boys and so many cows. And each one came to Krishna. And each cowherd boy, Krishna embraced. Krishna was crying, the cowherd boys were crying. And each cow, Krishna put his arm around them and whispered nice words in their ears and embraced them. Now, how is it possible that Krishna could embrace every cow and embrace and speak sweet words to every boy? That is the unlimited nature of Krishna, who is Ras Bihari. He has unlimited capacity to exchange love infinitely with everyone, at all times, simultaneously. God is great. God's greatness is sometimes calculated by how he creates, maintains, destroys the material creation. If someone can create some updates for computers are considered very great. But Krishna's created the entire universe, and simultaneously to one universe he has created unlimited universes. It's not that he has some organizational development plan, one universe at a time. He just exhales while he's sleeping. And quadrillions of universes are simultaneously created, with all the intricacies, the 25 elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, sky, the mind, the intelligence, the ego, the 5 objects of the senses, sight, taste, touch, sound, smell, the 5 working senses, the tongue and the arms and the legs and the genital organ and the evacuation organs, the 3 modes of material nature which activates all these elements, Rajaguna, Tamaguna, Sattvaguna, the pradhana, the spiritual force which is manifesting the entire creation of everything in material existence. How is he doing it? Just by his will. And all the mountains, all the oceans, the sun. The sun is so many millions of times bigger than the earth. Nobody's putting coal or fuel. There's no gas lines from the Middle East keeping the sun fuel to burn. Because as we know it, you can't have fire or light without fuel. Where is the sun getting its fuel from? And it's not like every day it's getting a little smaller. It stays the same size. It stays the same size until it's time to just go out. It's not like at the end of Brahma's days, the sun is just like a little speck. It remains as it is. Inconceivable. Who's doing it? How is it being done? Scientifically, they may have certain explanations of gas and all of this stuff, but who's making it work that way? It's more intricate than anything we have ever, that humans could ever conceive of. And all the planets, they're all in their orbits, and all living beings within the planets. You know, we have our DNAs and all of this, but who has created it? What is that force that causes a male lizard to be so attracted to a female lizard? It's quite inconceivable. How many of us are attracted to a lizard of the opposite sex? But how many lizards are attracted to humans of the opposite sex? So everything is so relative. Each species has an irresistible attraction to have pleasure with a companion of their own species. Even mosquitoes. Yes? You may laugh, but At one time in cosmic history, you were probably doing what the mosquitoes do. How creation is working is inconceivable. But what we read from Srimad Bhagavatam, this is an insignificant aspect of God's greatness. The actual greatness of God is Rasa Bihari, Gopinath, Giridhari, Vrindavan Chandra, Sham Sundar and Madhava, Madan Mohan, Damodar. All of these names of the Lord are appreciating His unlimited potency to give love and receive love. Therefore, even if there are millions of cows, Krishna can embrace every one of them. And it's not that they're all standing in queue. And some are in the back of the queue, the line, thinking, oh, when will I? It would take years to get to the front of the queue. What to speak of all the boys? And what to speak of, because Vrindavan, it's a spiritual world, but it's also part of India. So what kind of queue that would be? We see how people in your country, in our country, how they do so many things to get to the front of the line. Just to get a railway ticket, or to get on a third class or second class train, or whatever it may be. Could you imagine to be embraced by Krishna? But there's no lines. Krishna simultaneously can embrace everyone at the same time. Now, how is it possible? Now we're going to go into some details of what achintya, or inconceivable, means. In one sense, Krishna can expand himself. And when he expands himself, every expansion could be his original self. He can expand himself to be with each and every cow and each and every boy simultaneously, in such a way that every cow and every gopa is thinking Krishna's only embracing me, of all these others. And they don't become proud. They're not thinking, oh, I'm better than you, just see Krishna's. They're just so absorbed in their gratitude to Krishna and their love for Krishna. They're so inundated by Krishna's love for them, they just don't even notice. That relationship is so deep, they can't even notice that Krishna's doing the same thing to everyone. That's one way in which Krishna could embrace all simultaneous. But if Krishna wants to, he doesn't even have to expand himself. That one form, not some invisible energy, that one form of Krishna can simultaneously embrace and speak the name of all of his friends and cows. Is that conceivable? In one sense, to expand yourself unlimitedly, and each form is the original form, that's inconceivable. And to not expand yourself, just to simultaneously be embracing each one? How is it possible? It's not possible. That is Krishna's greatness. Achintya means that Krishna's power to reciprocate with the love of his devotee is beyond comprehension. And within this world, his infinite love, he is sarvasya chaham hridishani vishnu. He's simultaneously within the heart of every one of us. He knows our every desire. He knows everything we say, everything we do, everything we've ever said, thought, or done. Never forgets. That's love. Considering many of the things we may have done in this life, in past lives, in this world we say forgive and forget. Yes, but Krishna never forgets. But he forgives. Because we are his beloved. Every one of us. And Krishna's controlling time within this cosmic manifestation, and it's all ultimately meant to help us to revive and restore our love for him. And if we see within these tiny, insignificant little lifetimes we have in perspective of eternity, in this light, then our whole vision of reality transforms. So after satisfying all of his intimate friends, he decided to... He was actually very angry at Kaliya. Because according to Srila Jiva Goswami, Kaliya had poisoned that lake long before. And Krishna was telling his friends, just see what this serpent has done. This lake is so poisonous. Just the hissing of Kaliya exhumed, manifested so much poison that it was intolerable for anyone to live. Yes. Just psss. Of course, he was louder than that. But I just did it. What happened? Nothing. You laughed. Some of you laughed. When Kaliya goes, volumes and volumes of poisons come out. The lake was so polluted that any bird that flew overhead, just by the vapors, even the big birds that were flying way, way, way up in the sky, the vapors, they would immediately drop dead. Nothing could live. There was only one tree that was alive. All other vegetation was dead. That was a Kadamba tree. Because Garuda, in a little hole on the top of that Kadamba tree, he deposited some nectar, Amrit. Because with his vision, he understood that Krishna was going to come there. And he wanted that tree there for Krishna. Jiva Goswami explains that Krishna would have liberated Kaliya long before. But because of Kaliya's wives, the Nagapatnis, who were very virtuous, very pure in heart, and completely devoted to Krishna, Krishna was shy to do anything in their presence. But now that he saw that Kaliya actually murdered all his friends and cows before he brought him back to life, Krishna became angry. And he climbed that kadamba tree and tightened his belt. When Krishna tightens his belt, it's a very serious subject. If Krishna really wanted to insult a demon, he wouldn't even bother tightening his belt. But this was a serious matter. He tightened it to show he was about to really get involved. And then he jumped in the water. This water was so polluted. We were explaining no life could exist anywhere near it. Krishna jumped right in. And although Krishna was just a little boy, when he jumped from the branch of this kadamba tree, he made a massive splash. If he was the hugest of the celestial elephants diving in, it wouldn't be a splash like this. But Krishna's, according to his will, he could be the biggest of the big. He can be the Virat Rupa, where all the universes are just manifesting. He could be Mahavishnu, or he could be Paramatma. The soul is 1/10,000th the size of a tip of a hair. That's inconceivable. As long as we're in this material existence, that is the limit of our significance. Hare Krishna. Whether you're president, prime minister, world champion, cricket player, whatever you may be, you're 1/10,000th the size of the tip of a hair. So sometime today, just, pull out one of your hairs and and examine the tip of it. Try to measure it. Now that's insignificant. If someone were to say you are the size of the tip of a hair, that is your significance, that's an insult. But 1/10,000th the size. Can we even calculate 10,000? Kumbh Mela, you could calculate it. That many people are bathing in this, in a spot that's about 1 meter inside. So Krishna, he is seeing Kaliya from this perspective. And when he jumps in, Krishna he can be heavier than the heaviest or lighter than the lightest. Earlier when he was a little baby, Mother Yashoda, she was playing with Krishna. He was just 1 year old. It was just about the time of his first birthday. And Yashoda Maya had Krishna on her lap, and she would throw him into this air. And Krishna would, while he was in the sky, he would be laughing and smiling, and Yashoda would catch him. And then she would throw him up again and catch him. So he's so light. But then when Trinavarta came, he became heavier than the greatest of mountains. So little Krishna was so small. His limbs were so beautiful and so sweet and so graceful. He jumped in and the whole lake was in a tumultuous state. And then he was swimming around. And with his beautiful little arms, he was swishing the water, making these massive waves. Kaliya was underneath This was unbearable. You see, even in this world, people, when they have strong attachment to their property, they don't like trespassers. Yes. Unless you're invited, you cannot come. So many countries, there's gates around your house, and it says, beware of dogs. And then as soon as you get near, you hear, these dogs are screaming just to make you understand you are not wanted. And other people, they have these big signs that we have, this particular company of security devices, and everything that happens here is if you open a window, if you open a gate, if you try to climb over the fence, these lasers detect that somebody's there, and it sends immediate alarm to the police station. They have these in America. They may have in India, I don't know. Where if you go onto somebody's property, if you're not home, doesn't matter if you're home or not, immediately there's an alarm and it goes to the police station and the police immediately come to get you. Hare Krishna. So security. So Kaliya, his ego was uncontrollably agitated because nobody could possibly live in this lake that was so highly poisoned. And here someone was swimming around and playing and laughing. Krishna was laughing. So he came forward. He had 1,000 hoods. He was a massive snake. It wasn't like these little snakes that we see today. He was... Who can understand how big he was? He was bigger than all the high-rises of Mumbai. And he had razor-sharp, shining white fangs that were massive. And all of his tongues that were bifurcated in two parts were slithering in and out. And all of his eyes stared at Krishna with hatred and wrath. Then he bit Krishna. Then tied up Krishna within his until that hood collapsed. And he did that again and again and again. And all the Brajavasis were looking. It was just so extraordinary. In one sense, Krishna was fighting with this massive serpent, and he was just their little boy. In another sense, it was such a celebration. Can you imagine the music? What a concert that is. Shiva's playing the drum. Brahma was showering flowers. The Gandharvas, the Apsaras were singing. The ultimate concert of all concerts. And Krishna was dancing. So for the Brajavasis seeing this, their hearts were filled with joy. But at the same time, their hearts were filled with worry. And Krishna was smiling upon them. Don't worry. He danced and danced until all the poison of Kaliya's entire body started pouring out of his mouth. He was actually vomiting poison till there was no poison left in him. Then he started vomiting blood. And actually it was beautiful. Krishna was dancing. Ultimately, the last of Kaliya's hoods collapsed. And at that point, Kaliya realized that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It took this much for him to come to his senses. He was beaten down so much that literally, you see, it wasn't just his heads, it wasn't just his hoods, and it wasn't just his poison. That was, in one sense, the easy part. Physical pain doesn't go as deep as emotional pain. Kaliya was not only brutal and cruel, but he was the personification of false ego. Because he had so much power, because he had such immense treasures, because of his powers, because everybody was so afraid of him, and nobody could be his rival. You cannot be more arrogant than Kaliya was. He had practically unlimited mountain of arrogance in him. And as everyone was watching, he was fighting with Krishna with all his might. And Krishna was laughing and smiling, and he defeated him by dancing. That's quite humiliating. Yes, if Krishna just started taking weapons to fight him, then it's like a chivalrous Kshatriya battle, even if you lose. But Krishna was showing him no significance whatsoever. Kaliya was fighting like the most ferocious warrior, and Krishna was smiling and singing and dancing. And in doing so, Kaliya, along with his hoods, his ego completely collapsed. It was crushed. He realized he was totally insignificant. He was absolutely helpless, and there was nothing he could do about it. And nothing anyone could do about it for him. In that state, he became genuinely humble. And only in that egoless humility could he recognize that Krishna is my beloved Lord. He took shelter of Narayan to save him. At that moment, the Nagapatnis, the wives of Kaliya, emerged from the lake. According to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, when Krishna was dancing on Kaliya's hoods and he was about to die, the wives were saying, "Very good." He's so cruel. He's such a demon. He's caused so much pain to so many others. We would always tell him what he should do, but he would never listen because he was so proud. Now Krishna is so kind. He's giving him what he deserves. Let him die. Then, without restriction, we could be widows and completely take shelter of Krishna and chant his holy names. It's been so long since I've been here, I forgot that you like that you like to do like that. But when they saw Kaliya actually, from his heart of hearts, was humbling himself before God, they were genuinely, deeply his well-wisher. When they were thinking, let him die, they were thinking that this is his only hope. Krishna's dancing on his heads and he's going to die like this, he's going to be liberated. This is the best possible thing. That was their compassion. But when they saw how he was humbling himself, they approached Krishna and they put all their sons and daughters, Kaliya's children, in front of them. It doesn't describe what they looked like or anything. But it appears that they were very sweet little children. Not because of Kaliya, but because of the wives. Because they were so sweet, they were so devoted, they were so pure in heart. And they folded their palms with tears of love, offering prayers to Krishna. And what are these prayers? They're praying how they're offering obeisances to Krishna. And they're glorifying Krishna's compassion. The punishment that this offender has been subjected to is certainly just. Whatever you're doing for him is perfect. After all, you have incarnated in this world to curb envious and cruel people. And you are so impartial that you look upon everyone, your enemies and your own sons, with equal vision. And whatever you do for anyone, it is always for their ultimate benefit. Whether we're being empowered and exalted or whether we're being punished, apparently, it's always for our ultimate benefit. If only we could see the whole picture. And essentially the whole picture, it's not that we have to understand all the intricacies of all the karmas that we have performed in all of our previous lives and this lives to understand why is this coming back to me. That's one way of understanding the justice of material nature and God. But for the Nagapatnis, it wasn't about that. When we understand how Krishna is Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, he is the intimate, most loving, well-wishing friend of all living beings. Understanding the nature of God's infinite, inconceivable love is all we really have to know. We have to see everything that happens in creation through the lens of Krishna's love for all living beings. Whoever we are, whatever we have done, Krishna's love never diminishes. But how he expresses our love, his love, is what is for our ultimate benefit. Because we cannot really reciprocate love with Krishna until we free ourselves of this arrogance, of this wanting to be the Lord of all we survey. So the Nagapatnis are praising Krishna in this way. Whatever you do is for everyone's ultimate benefit. And Krishna, you know, nobody else could know what is ultimately for the benefit of all your loving children. And what you have done is so extraordinary.